What's up, gamers? I'm your host Cobra, and this is the Freeroll. Today, we're breaking down Parallel's Pack Drop 5. Parallel Alpha is a trading card game that lives on the blockchain. It's also going to be playable in AR and VR, and it features some really incredible art. It's one of the most notable and important projects in the NFT space, and especially for Web3 gaming, in my opinion, because it is a project that started off small, had a tremendous launch, and attracted a ton of VC dollars. They're one of the first, if not the very first, play-to-earn game that has been able to do so, and that resulted in some really incredible valuations for a lot of the cards after Pack Drop 1 and 2. So if you were able to participate in those, they were some of the most lucrative in NFT history, as it was really easy to get 10 or 100x gains in very short order. Now, that is a totally unsustainable model, and not surprisingly, the pack drops since then have been far less lucrative. In fact, most likely you lost money on those pack drops if you were buying to flip. So today we are going to do an analysis of Pack Drop 5, and we're going to compare back to Pack Drop 4 and 3 so that you can get an idea of what type of value to expect this time around. Here we are looking at the Pack Drop 5 pack odds. Now, the Parallel team publishes this for each of their pack drops, and every time it has been tremendously helpful, especially now that they're down to a single pack type with a wide variety of outcomes possible. This really helps you understand what is inside of each pack. So let's walk through it together. First and foremost, there are 10 cards in every pack, which is pretty cool because you can just get one pack and still add quite a few cards to your collection. That part is definitely nice. Each of those 10 cards is assigned a different tier slot, and the tier slot that it is assigned is what determines the odds for what you pull in that particular card slot. So on the low end, there's going to be 4 cards at the tier 3 level. The tier 3 level is the snoozers. Those are guaranteed to be first edition. In fact, they don't even have a chance to be a legendary first edition. They're going to be rare first edition or worse. From a value perspective, those are the cards at the floor, and they're pretty close to worthless today at about 0.002. So nothing exciting there except for from a gameplay and art perspective. They're still very cool to look at and have in your collection. They're just not going to be worth much. Then there are 5 tier 2 slots. In my opinion, the tier 2 slots are by far the most interesting because they have the widest range of outcomes. You still have a chance to pull first edition cards. In fact, every slot has a chance to pull first editions, and in the tier 2 slots it's about 47% combined. That means you've got a little bit better than a 50% chance to pull an SE, and in these card slots, that's what you're hoping for, is to get at least an SE. At this odds range, you're hoping for at least 2, ideally 3 or more, and hopefully at least one of them is going to be rare, legendary, or even a prime pull. And that's the other really cool thing about the tier 2 slot, is that you have a chance at the very highest tier cards, and it's not that exciting when you only have one chance to pull at the best stuff, even though it's a very small chance. Here you're only getting a prime card less than 0.25% of time, but that is significantly better than 0 because there is a chance. On Pack Drop 1, I was able to pull a prime from a tier 2 slot, which was very cool. So it is possible, you just need to get lucky. The part that I don't like about this is that they have reduced the level of a legendary SE in those tier 2 slots by quite a bit this time around. But they were always long odds, so not the end of the world. Finally, you wrap things up with a single tier 1 pull, and this is what's going to most determine the value that you're getting out of your pack, because this is where you have a decent chance to actually pull something good. So on the downside, there's about an 18% chance that your tier 1 pull is going to be a first edition. And quite frankly, if that happens, it is a disaster from a value perspective, because that was your one good shot to get something decent or rare, but you ended up getting the same thing that you got from the common tier 3 slots. So we want to avoid that at all costs. That is the big risk, and in my opinion, that's the thing that they need to eliminate. Tier 1 slot should be a common SE or better, in my opinion. It is awfully disappointing to walk away from a pack drop that costs 0.21, which is not cheap at all, especially in today's market, and not get a single SE. That is a real possibility with these packs. It was a real possibility in pack drop 4. In fact, that was the reason that I chose to skip pack drop 4, because I think that's the wrong approach. And it is still the case here in pack drop 5. I am not going to be skipping it this time around, but that's going to be a FOMO based decision. And because I want to add to my parallel collection, I fully expect to lose value on that pack. In fact, let's talk a little bit about the value that we expect to lose. So I did a quick little analysis here for some different outcomes depending on your luck. If your luck is very bad and you get the worst pull possible, the total value of the pack is going to come in at around 0.026. That is a significant loss compared to the cost of 0.21. The most likely outcome is that you're going to fall a little bit short of 0.1 in value at 0.098. And that is assuming that you get the most likely outcome from each slot versus the worst outcome from each slot, which is what the first evaluation is. If you're lucky and you do land a prime, that's going to bump you up to at least about 0.45, depending on the prime that you get. It certainly could be better than that, but since most of the primes are card bags, assuming that the values of those is not going to be increasing with more supply, you're looking at just under 0.5. Then if you're super duper lucky and pull a masterpiece, those have a floor of 25 ETH currently, so if your intention is to flip that right away, you're looking at something like 20 ETH, and the odds of that happening is very small, but it is going to happen for a handful of people. All right, let's jump back in time and compare the pack drop 5 odds to pack drops 3 and 4, because those are the two maligned pack drops that Parallel has done so far. The community didn't love either one of them, in my opinion. Pack drop 3, I think, was viewed as the worst overall. Personally, I am not sure which one I disliked more than the other, but either way, we're hoping to see pack drop 5 be an improvement over these two pack drops. So pack drop 3 was done February-ish of this year, and it was probably the most different. It's the first time that they went to a single pack type. For pack drops 1 and 2, they had 3 different tiers of packs with different odds and different tier slots. That is part of the reason why those were so lucrative, especially if you were able to get your hands on the best packs. This time around, they put everything into a single pack and changed the structure quite a bit. The price point was 0.075. Much more reasonable, in my opinion, especially considering the odds that you're looking at. The big difference with pack drop 3 was that there were still 10 cards, but 7 out of those 10 were tier 3 slots. And as a reminder, the tier 3 slots are essentially worthless. They only had 2 tier 2 slots and a single tier 1 slot. They each had pretty long odds, but the pack was about a third the price of pack drop 4 and 5, and therefore the worse odds do make some sense. From a purely statistical breakdown of the odds here, this is a pretty unexciting pack to open, since 70% of it is guaranteed to be not good and 90% of it is likely to be not good. That's just not the most fun to open, but at that price point, it's not so bad. What made Pack Drop 3 truly a disaster, in my opinion, is the fact that they didn't send these NFTs to your wallet. They sent them to a parallel vault, a much cheaper solution for the team. You then had to pay the gas to transfer each one of those out of the vault into your wallet if you wanted to own the cards yourself and have custody of them, which is required if you would like to sell the cards. And because the majority of those cards were essentially worthless floor NFTs, the cost to transfer out of your vault was often the same or more than what you could sell it for. So you basically were getting cards that you couldn't even justify transferring to your wallet. That is a tough pill to swallow, and in fact, I still have a whole bunch of cards sitting in my vault because they still don't make a lot of sense to take out. One of the key metrics that I like to look at first with any of these pack drop breakdowns is what are your odds to pull a legendary SE or prime card from the pack, because if you do that, then your odds of being profitable are very good, whereas if you do not, then your odds of being profitable are quite poor. And with Pack Drop 3, the odds were 1.3 at a prime and 3.09% at a legendary SE or prime, and that is pretty low. That's the reason why this was by far the least exciting pack to open, and one where you were just about guaranteed to lose value. Pack Drop 4 is the best comparison because it is the most similar to Pack Drop 5. Pack Drop 4 is when they ditched the parallel vault idea, which is greatly appreciated. They also changed the distribution of the different tier slots. You still get 10 cards in each pack. However, the tier 3 slots are reduced from 7 to 4, and the tier 2 slots are increased from 2 to 5. This makes the pack significantly more exciting to open up, and the odds possibilities a lot more interesting. However, this comes at a cost of the price increasing about 3 times to 0.21 versus the 0.075 price point that Pack Drop 3 had. So you are paying quite a bit more to get these better odds. The downside, however, is still that you have a chance to pull all first edition cards, and at this price point, that is not something that I like. It still exists in Pack Drop 5, which is not ideal, and hopefully some feedback that the team will take is to make that tier 1 slot a guaranteed SE. However, there are a bunch of things that they changed about Pack Drop 4 that we do like. The odds of pulling a prime card are about 3 times as good as they were in Pack Drop 3, and the odds of a legendary or prime pull is about 10 times better than it was in Pack Drop 3. That part is great. It is still possible to get all first edition, which is not so great, but we like this a lot better. The tier 2 slots are very interesting here because there's a 28% in the first edition, which is close to worthless, but there's almost a 2% chance to get a rare SE or better, which is a nice increase. Pack Drop 4 also carried a 12.3% chance at a first edition card from your tier 1 slot, which is not ideal. So how do these numbers compare to Pack Drop 5? Well, Pack Drop 5 is the same cost, has the same tier breakdown for its 10 cards. The chance at a prime pull or legendary SE is still about 13%, which is nice. The odds of pulling a prime, however, dropped to 4.6% versus over 7% in Pack Drop 4. The odds of pulling a first edition from your tier 1 slot unfortunately increase almost 50% to 18.1%, which is rather disappointing since that was the part that we liked the least about Pack Drop 4. You have about a 3% better chance to pull in a legendary SE, which helps offset that a little bit. The odds of pulling a first edition card from the tier 2 slots goes way up from 28% to about 47% with the Tier 2 slots in Pack Drop 5. That is also pretty disappointing to see, but not that big a surprise. The chance at a rare SE or better in those Tier 2 slots also comes down a little bit to 1.71. So overall, how does this compare to Pack Drop 4? I'd say it's about the same. The downsides are worse. The upsides are a little bit better. The price is the same. So my intention is to purchase this pack. There is no expectation that we will make money right away unless we get very, very lucky, but I do want to add them to my collection and do want to participate in the very fun pack opening process. So my final recommendation is as such. If you are looking to purchase this pack to sell all of the cards and try to make a profit on a flip, I would say skip it. The odds of these packs being profitable, especially right out of the gate, are very low unless you are lucky. Consider it a heavy and poor gamble, in my opinion. However, if you want to collect and play Parallel, go for it. This should be a pretty fun and exciting pack with a wide variety of outcomes. My intention is to purchase for that reason alone. And that wraps up today's Parallel Pack Drop 5 odds breakdown. We hope you found this fun and informative, and if you did, consider giving us a follow on Twitter. That's where I love to engage with the Web3 gaming community and answer all of your questions. Also, if you haven't already, double check to make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps to support the channel.